and set. And where I come from, cash been the best. So I let you other boys live with the check. Stop sleeping on the floor when you leave with the rest. Somebody tell the waitress bring more bottles, cause I'm feeling as good as I look up in these pro models. And you see how I'm matching with the jacket.
Listeners, welcome back to another episode of Unlabeled Sports. I'm your illustrious host, Jerome Williams. I got my wonderful co-host, Lamar Wilburn, in the building. How you feeling this week, brother?
I'm feeling good, my brother. Excited, real excited, but feeling good.
That's what's up, bro. I'm excited as well. First episode went over without a issue. It seemed to be received well by our listeners, so I'm excited about the future of this show.
I agree, bro. I've been getting some good feedback. You know, we gonna make our adjustments just like sports in its true fashion, and we here.
Yeah, we here. So today on today's episode, we got a very special guest. We got our good brother Clyde Johnson in the building. If for all of those who aren't familiar, Clyde Johnson is a professional boxer. He has won 50 amateur boxing matches. He's 50-4. Has a record of 50-4. He's from the Southside of Chicago. If I ain't left that out, he's a father of two with his beautiful wife Dominique. Clyde, tell us a little bit about yourself, brother. Introduce yourself to our listeners.
Before you go, let me give my brother a little bit more than that. Let me give my brother a little bit more. Man of God, hooper by nature. That's how I met him. Solid individual, Southside kid from the Shy, so we like cousins from the mill. One of the best human beings you would meet. And he can play them clubs. He can slow it down. He can talk life, cigar smoker, the truth. Clyde, go ahead, man. Go ahead. You need the proper introduction.
Man, first and foremost, man, congratulations on the show, y'all, man. I saw the first episode. Y'all already on y'all way, on track, man. Things looking good. Hey, and the other thing is, man, I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate you sharing the stage, because a lot of the times what happened to individuals that come from where we come from, who look like we look, we'll get a stage and then just try to be selfish with it. Hey, listen, just because one candle has a fire going don't mean the other one isn't as bright. So first of all, I appreciate it. That's the first thing I want to say.
Man, listen,
hey, man, y'all pretty much covered it, man. Y'all pretty much covered it, man. The base of who I am, the foundation of it come from my faith. You know what I'm saying? Because being from the south side of Chicago, man, I've seen what it looks like on the other end of things. And I knew that me being where I am now isn't because I'm just that good at all the things that I've accomplished. I've been blessed along the way, man. And I've had a good supporting cast along the way, outside my mother, outside my siblings, and then now having my wife, and then meeting cats like Burner. You know what I'm saying? All them compliments you gave me, man, it's just a reflection of yourself, because iron sharpens iron. And you know what I mean? They always said birds of the same feather flocks together. Yeah. So I appreciate it, y'all.
Listen, I'm glad Burner shared that, that gave you a little bit more insight about your life, because, like I said, that does give you a little bit of makeup. But I'm also glad you gave us our flowers, man, because that's what we tried to do. When I built this platform, it was to give other people from our community opportunity to come and speak, man, because I know bigger platforms is hard to access. And I'm like, if I start building something from the ground up to kind of disseminate information, motivate people, that's what this is all about. So I'm, like I said, once again, I'm glad to have you here. Just throw that in there. Burner, I'll let the floor is yours, my brother.
So let's take it back, Clyde, for the people who don't know. So I met Clyde. It's probably been a decade. I met him playing ball. So, a lot of people, if they're getting familiar with you now, they know you as a boxer throwing them hands. But let's take it back, right? Let's take it back.
Yeah.
I want to hear about this athletic journey. I want to hear about this basketball. And then I want to paint a story for the people, because your story lines up with what we trying to portray kind of with this podcast, and that's overcoming adversity. So take us back to the south side of Chicago.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna take you back down to the low end. We call it the low end where I'm from because I grew up in some project homes called the Dearborn homes. So down in my neighborhood, man, it's the projects is what they stereotype it as the ghetto. But one of the things you have access to immediately is basketball. It's a concrete court out there on every corner in every park, and you have the ability to go out there and prove your worth and some toughness. And it was just something I gravitated towards coming up in the 90s. So you got to remember in the 90s in Chicago, your airness, Michael Jordan was on the scene. Him, Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen. That was the Bulls going 70-10, you know. So it was a huge influence in my city to be a part of that basketball culture. And what I did was, man, you know, it was one of those things I used to fill idle time because there are some other options where I come from. You don't just run and shoot on the basketball court where I'm from. You can pick that up just on the block if you want to. Mm-hmm. So what I did was I gravitated towards hoops. I had older siblings, you know, who made some different decisions, and Lord willing, they still with us. But the thing is, basketball kind of filled that void of a father, because the structure you had to have coming from a basketball coach in order to play basketball on a high level. You had to have the grades, you had to have the attendance. So those things kept me in class and in school as well. As far as relocating to Nebraska, my mom took an opportunity to move us all here because she had a job offer. So then basketball really became the forefront for me because I didn't know anybody. And in order to get immersed into the community, what I did was, okay, where's the local hoop session at? Mm. And just so happened in the neighborhood that I moved in, it was this place called the F Street Rec. Later on down the road, if you said you could hoop and you were in the city of Lincoln, you had to prove it at this F Street Rec. It was myself and some other local guys in the neighborhood that kind of turned that particular rec center into the stomping grounds of the city, to where we made it a culture of what I mimicked from the Southside of Chicago, was to bring it over here to the F Street Recs, where you had to come in. If you say you can hoop, you had to hoop there. And then eventually guys from all around the city began to come. And then when kids migrated here to go to school, they began coming to the F Street Rec also. That made it a more popular place. High school hoops, of course, went well. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, you good. I was gonna say, for the record, I did my damage at F Street Rec as well. But continue on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely had to slide that one in there.
Yeah. He had a torch on him. He pull up dribble, off the dribble. He had it working. But it was definitely one of them places where it was walks of all lives in there, and you had to prove yourself if you said you could hoop. So with me, I took the junior college route, went down to Southeast Community College in Beatrice, initially at a high school, played down there 2 years, initially committed to, I had a couple of Division I offers. Let me clarify something real quick also. Man, I was strictly a defensive stopper. I could get to the basket. I saw the floor real well, but I was strictly a defensive stopper. So my role was basically to come in and cut a lead and score water off. And I enjoyed that more than anything. Understanding how the stats work and understanding film, and then thinking to myself, okay, if that's what the challenge is, I look forward to it. So these schools that were recruiting me, they were bringing me in, okay, to come in and guard the best player on the perimeter. So I took pride in that. Had a couple of Division I offers. Initially wanted to go to Long Beach State, but then committed to Texas Tech. They neither one of them eventually end up being a good fit. But a coach from Long Beach State that ended up taking a head coaching job at a Division II program here in Nebraska in Chadron State. I went out and played for him. I went out and played for him for 2 years. That was a great experience. We had some kids, also some other kids who transferred in from the Division I level. Had a bunch of California kids on our team. And that was a blessing to be in that situation, because also what it did for a kid coming from where I come from was it gave me a chance to grow. Not only grow, but I end up with 2 degrees. You know, so then by the end of it, I end up being able to select what I wanted to major in and slow things down for me going through the JUCO process. And then after that, being able to say, okay, this is what I want to do moving forward. And because of basketball, it gave me an opportunity to plan my future. So basketball was definitely a first love and a blessing.
Yeah, that topic of JUCO, it keeps coming up on this show and how significant that was in athletes who went on to play at a higher level. And I'm glad you kind of pointed that out, because, like I said, a lot of people think if they don't make it to a big 4-year college that they don't have any other opportunities provided for them.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, and I'll tell you this, and I say this all the time. I've never played any tougher hoops than playing in junior college. I never seen more dogs. I've never seen it night after night, day after day. Every day you had to show up, whether it was practice, and then don't get to a game. Don't get to a game. Everybody's hungry.
Facts.
Everybody's hungry.
Facts.
Okay, so after junior after junior college, I'm sorry to cut you off, but after junior college, you went to a 4-year school, correct?
Yep.
Okay, what was the 4-year school you attended?
At Chadron State. It was a Division II program here in Nebraska. We played in the RMAC. The RMAC. One of the cool things, though, because of our head coach was coming from Long Beach State, our first 2 years that he was there, we had 50% opening games against Division I schools. So we played against like the Colorado State, Denver, Long Beach State, Cal State Fullertons, New Mexico State. So then you still got that stage and got that feel of being out there against Division I players. 50% of our schedule before we went into the RMAC and played against some tougher opponents. Kearney was in our conference as well, and they had some first-team All-Americans on their team. So we had a pretty tough conference.
Wow.
I want to back you up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned something about your basketball playing style, right? Being a defensive stopper, wanting to take on that challenge of shutting down the offensive player. Is that centered to who you are as a person? When you think of a fighter, right? You want that challenge. You ready for the smoke, so to speak.
Yeah. Yep. You nailed it right there, because good, bad, or ugly, I refuse to take this chip off my shoulder. I've been extremely blessed. I've had these huge opportunities, and like I said, I grew up at one point from not knowing what a swimming pool was to having the option to build one in my backyard type of thing. So I've been extremely blessed. But the thing that I have not done is take this chip off my shoulder. I want to be the underdog. You know what I mean? That feeling is what snaps me up out my bed every morning, and I'm gonna go get it, because I'm gonna pretend like I know what it's like not to have it. I know exactly what it's like not to have it. You know what I mean? If you never got a can out your cabinet and it's all silver and it's a black cowl on it, and you open it up and that's supposed to be beef that you pouring over rice, you don't know my feeling. Mm-hmm. So at the core of me is this wolf that feels like he still has to hunt. So that's what the defense comes from. And then like you said, Berna, it trickled over into the ring.
Yeah.
Now it's one of those over into the ring, and I know we're gonna get there, but it's one of them things to where you can't talk your way out of this. There's nobody else to blame, and all the preparation before the actual night will be exposed. The lack of preparation or the preparation you done will be exposed within that one night.
Man,
I'm sorry to cut you off, Ron.
You got it.
I was just thinking when you was just saying that, I remember the conversations we've had over the years, and to see the transformation is very impressive. And I want to give you your flowers, because I think as a society, especially as ex-athletes per se, we don't value when somebody goes pro. There are truly levels to this, period. And going pro is not to be taken lightly in anything. So I just wanted to give you your flowers for that, and let the people know that this ain't no, backyard barn type stuff. We talking a professional.
Yeah.
So
no,
mess around and find out if you want to.
Right.
No, absolutely. No, man, I appreciate that, because it was one of those things to where the opportunity had presented itself earlier to flip the switch and turn pro, but it's one of those things to where you as an individual will know if you're ready and when you're ready. And if the situation is the right situation for you, because the other thing about it is, like I said, the thing that basketball provided was that education. So most time the stereotype is boxers are illiterate, ignorant thugs or something. So you can put any piece of paper in front of them and they're gonna sign it as long as they're getting paid for it. That's not my case.
Right.
That's not. I'm not a cat that's chasing this for the financial glory or for the accolades of being famous or something. So you can't just put anything in front of me and I say, oh man, because you guys are so cool and so popular, I'm going to sign with you. No, that doesn't work for me. You know, I have to have some creative control over this process and who's around and when it happens and where it happens. So a lot of time guys sign their life away, not just in boxing, but in contracts in general. So when it came down to me picking and choosing promotion and who I wanted to work with, I was really, really strict about that. And that's why it took a little longer. But that was the thing. I also felt that at this time I had earned it and I was prepared for it.
Yeah. That record 50-4 says it in itself. But let's go back a little bit to the education. So after you did your 4-year school, you went over to Italy and played as well, correct?
Yeah, man, I had a short stint over in Italy, man. I got invited over. And the thing was I had actually left school early because the opportunity had presented itself, and I was talking to a good friend of mine back at the crib, and he was telling me, hey, listen, Clyde, man, the education, the opportunity to get those degrees aren't going anywhere, but you might miss this boat. So I went over, and it was at the back end of a season. I went over. I was there for about just shy of 90 days, came back for the summer. And the thing was, everyone was caught buzz of, oh, he's getting ready to go overseas. I was thinking to myself, hey, I had already been. I had already been. It wasn't that I was getting ready to go overseas. Clyde getting ready to go overseas. No, I've already been. So then I came back, and that summer I was going up to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and I was working out with some cats that played ball up there. It was a cat named Sack Henry that went to school at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln at the time. He was from California, but one of his high school teammates was my collegiate teammate. So he had connected me with Sack. So when I got back to Lincoln, he invited me up to come and work out, use their facilities. And that was a blessing over the summers. I was using their facilities probably 4 or 5 days out of the week. And that's also where I kind of put my eyes back on my wife at the time. I had knew her prior to leaving for school, but then I saw her then.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question. I was just about to ask, when did your wife come into play? Because I was like, go ahead and I'll let you tell how long y'all been married and when did she come and play? How did y'all meet?
No, it was definitely one of those things to where she was already a stud athlete when we were at the high school level. I'm a couple of years older, so it was one of those things to where we attended the same church also. We attended the same church, and I was in and out of the church because of being a young man. But when I was training up at the university, I remember, you start hanging out around the basketball players, and everybody know when you're on campus, if you want to know anything about other fellow athletic women, whether it's the girls' basketball, volleyball, all you got to do is ask the hoopers. They know. So, they had opportunities for me to come hang out. Oh, Clyde, come hang out, kick it over here, such and such, gonna be over here. So I remember asking some of the guys, like, so what about Dominique? What's her backstory? And immediately, about 4 or 5 of them all at the same time told me, oh, Clyde, don't waste your time, man. That girl a church girl. She all about basketball. She all about school. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, perfect. She stuck to her morals. She stuck to her morals. So then with that being said, that's who I want to take out. And I remember the first time that I offered her to take her out, she told me, get lost. told me to get lost, man. I tried to be all smooth. I had this little condo up in Omaha at the time. So this was post being over in Italy. So I tell her, yeah, you can come up to Omaha. I can take you out to dinner. We can have a couple of drinks. You can stay at my place. And she shut it down. She was like, 2 things. Dinner sounds good. but the other two, I don't drink, and I'm definitely not staying at your place. And I was like, all right, so how do I get you out on a date?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was one of those things where she told me, like, if you want to hang out with me, you can come to Lincoln. When I'm done with workouts and practice, maybe we can catch a movie and then sit down and have a conversation. And that's how it started, man. And literally from that movie, that conversation, we've been together now 15 years, married 12 of them. And like you said earlier on in the introduction, got 2 beautiful kids that came from it.
That's amazing, man. Like that, your wife, for y'all to be so grounded, like knowing each other for a while, like say you had your experience with church, for your wife to be so grounded in her faith to come at you directly like that, and y'all been together this time, just shows, you know, the type of woman that you married. That's an amazing story, man. Because not a lot of brothers have that in common with you, finding a woman of faith and to stand on their morality, especially a former athlete.
A GOAT former athlete.
yeah.
She wasn't just no athlete.
Right. I'm talking about him as well. Like him being an athlete, the woman he chose to pick, and you see how successful they've been in their marriage. This is just my little sidebar conversation. A young man who looking to find a wife. Like these are the type of situations you look for. This is the type of situation you look for right here. The ones Go ahead.
It speaks to intentionality too, and I think what we starting to see with these interviews, man. That needs to be communicated is how you do some things is how you do everything.
That hurt.
You see the hunger from a young kid. You was always different, always wanted more. Because a lot of times the vehicle is provided, but nobody wants to get in. So again, kudos to you for having the wherewithal, you know, to make those good decisions. So you got to clap for that. Play some clapping. Play some clapping tunes.
Let me turn it down right quick because they come on live. There we go. Round of applause for that right there. And your wife played basketball as well, correct?
She did. She played up at the University of Nebraska.
Yep. University of Nebraska. Because I keep hearing about it. You got to run down some of her chips for me.
Say it again.
You got to run down some of her accolades for me.
Man, at the high school level, Shorty was Gatorade Player of the Year. Won state titles at the high school level. Came in all Big 12. They had a 32-2 season, #1 seed in the NCAA tournament. She started every game up into the last 10, 15 games of her career. A knee injury set her out from a freshman year all the way to a senior year. Was a starter, known for being a big-time defensive stopper as well. But she could actually put the ball in the basket. She was tough, real smart, real athletic, had a build on her that was second to none, that was already genetically there. But then you put that with a collegiate atmosphere, intensified that. But she another one who took full advantage of the opportunity, walked away with her MBA, and went into coaching at the collegiate level after that as well. And then up into the last year, she was coaching 6 years coaching at the high school level. Not this past basketball season, but 2 basketball seasons ago, she took her team all the way to the state championship game with a narrow loss before she decided to step away. She stepped away and took a CEO position at the Boys and Girls Club. And just a little backstory on that, man. On her end, she felt like God was telling her that she could cast her net wider. She had been having this influence and impact on young women, but it was isolating young women outside of basketball, then isolating the young women outside of those who can make the varsity basketball team. And then it's just leaving the community itself, is leaving the young men out of it. And we had been praying on it. She said she felt like God had told her that she could cast that net wider. And just when she was having those feelings and praying on those particular situations, the opportunity to do so presented itself. So she's been in this position now for a little over 7 months and enjoying it and doing a well job in the community right now for the youth.
Man, what? Man, y'all really like a power couple. Like y'all got a lot going on. How do y'all manage that? How does I'm sure every marriage has its ups and downs, but how do y'all manage that? Because it seemed like y'all have done a good job up until this point.
Yeah, man, it's one of those things to where by nature I'm more of an introvert, to be honest, and by nature my wife she's vocal, and part of it is allowing a lot of men can be intimidated by successful women. Me, I'm gonna be your biggest cheerleader. Go ahead, and especially if you're speaking on something that's impactful. Not just anything. You speaking on something that's impactful, that's going to do some good for those who come from the communities we come from, or especially those who look like us. Go ahead. The stage is yours. That's been the balance. If it's time for her to step up and be on front and center, she's allowed that space. She's supported by me as a husband, as a friend, and as a fan, even in a lot of cases. And when it's my turn, she does the same. She does the same, man. The first person that say at 4:30 when my alarm go off, I feel that elbow, that alarm went off. Yeah, I know it went off. 4:30 a.m. I'm up. I'm out the door. It's time to go run.
Mm-hmm.
But she right there. Don't forget, I made you those overnight oats. So before you go run, have your overnight oats, so you have some energy. So it's a one of those things to where we've done a great job at saying, like, hey, when it's your turn, you go ahead. I'll be your cheerleader, and when it's my turn, I know you're gonna do the same. And then a lot of the time now, both of us have taken the role of just being cheerleaders to the children. So it's that the cohesiveness of understanding the moment and what's at stake help us navigate. And before I leave this out, more importantly, when it boils down to it, and what is that Bible telling us how this union is supposed to work? Amen. How does this union supposed to work? It's coming directly from the word itself. It's coming from the word. A lot of people be afraid to speak on their faith, man, but I know better, man.
Yeah.
I know better. Yeah. And when it boils down to it, our foundation is our faith.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Absolutely beautiful. Bernie.
Absolutely. I was gonna say, so we talk a little bit, we talk about the Shy, we talk about a little basketball, we talk about faith, we talk about that, and we gonna get to that boxing because we got big things coming up.
Yeah.
And you mentioned a little bit about giving back to the community. I also wanted to inform the people outside of the athletics, Clyde has been able to transition to the businessman, and he's had several positions in the community where he actually gave back. One in particular that I would like you to expound upon is your role at Spreetail. And some reports said you partnered with another community small business, and you were able to raise 50,000. Somewhere I saw 500,000 when you were at Spreetail. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I was working for a local e-commerce company. I was working in the department for community outreach. Initially, when I got there, the community outreach department was just voluntarily based. Anybody can just randomly do these things if they wanted to. They saw that I had a real passion for it. And what they did was they turned it into a full department. And with it being a department, what I had the opportunity to do was partner with different nonprofits. Excuse me, whether that was in Las Vegas, whether that was in PA, Georgia, Austin, or Lincoln and Omaha. And particularly what you're talking about, what happened in Lincoln and Omaha was during the pandemic, when there was a lot of things taking place during that time. They gave me a budget of $500,000 and told me I could have this impact on nonprofits throughout the state, throughout the country. And what I did was I did my research, and I found, to be honest, I found majority Black owned and operated nonprofits, and I partnered directly with them, because this was also during the time of what was taking place with George Floyd. So what I did was, locally, there was nonprofits that had been struggling to get their nonprofit up and running. So because of my faith and being a part of the community, what I was able to do was bless some of these nonprofits with $180,000 to get that nonprofit up and running. One of my favorite nonprofits I partnered with was IB Black Girl out of Omaha. And it's 4 Black young ladies that all graduated from Howard. Not only that, but they came back to Omaha, started this nonprofit that empowers young ladies to be entrepreneurs, whether that's hairstylists, nail techs, or what have you. They want to start a fashion line. IB Black Girl is there for that purpose, and we were able to funnel some of those funds into their nonprofit so that they could continue to have things running full steam ahead. And I keep track of these different nonprofits even to this day, and they're doing extremely well. They're one of my favorite ones to check in on and see the things they're doing in Omaha and in Western Iowa as well. But yeah, that was the thing. Being a part of philanthropy work was always one of those things to where it pulled at my heartstrings, because I remember being on the other side. Not that my mom wasn't doing what she was supposed to do, but you know what I'm saying, when you're a single parent and you got 6 you're raising, things look a little different. Mm-hmm. Especially when I'm the only athlete in the house and everybody get a pair of kicks, and then I say, yeah, I need some more gym shoes for hoops. You know, so I know what that looks like. So that philanthropy work is something that's always been near and dear to my heart. One of my favorite things I got to do before we turned the page was partner with a nonprofit out of Detroit. A young lady started a nonprofit in Detroit called the Empowerment Plant. At the Empowerment Plant, they create coats that double down as sleeping bags. So you can unfold the interior of your coat and zip it all the way up head to toe, and it turns into the sleeping bag for homeless.
Wow.
So I partnered with them and had the opportunity to partner with Social Works, which is Chance the Rapper's nonprofit, and brought those two together. And they now have a relationship that still to this day is providing homeless throughout the Midwest, throughout the country, with these coats that double down as sleeping bags.
That's amazing. Burner, I'm alley oop it to you, bro.
Oh, well, you know, I'm always ready for a slam dunk. You know that. Come on now. But no, Clyde. So I knew that. So I wanted to throw that nugget because I didn't want that to be overlooked, because again, you know, how we do one thing is a reoccurring thing, is how we do everything. So we hitting on faith, we hitting on all this, you know, all these athletic endeavors.
Mm-hmm.
So now we get into the more fun stuff, and kind of before we do. So ideally, when I think of boxers, right, is it fair to say that you probably fought a lot as a kid? Did you have a natural just love for fighting, being from the South Side of Chicago?
I'm gonna be honest with you, and here's something that a lot of people didn't realize. So I lived on one end of our projects. It was a total of about 20 buildings in total. The separation of 2 gangs was the length of a football field. And connected to that football field was our school, Daniel Hale Williams School. You know, Daniel Hale Williams was the first Black open heart surgeon. I'm just gonna put that out there, but that was the name of our school. So a lot of time in the morning, my mom, she out the door before the sun come up. Older sister, older brothers out the door before the sun come up, getting on the bus to get to high school. But I would have to take my little sister with me to school. Sometimes you get off the elevator in the projects. In order to get to school, you might have to fight, because there might be some errands that need to be ran down there, and you at a certain age, and they say you're gonna run these errands, or you're gonna have to answer to him. So I got to the point to where I used to think to myself, 1, I don't even feel like going to school, but 2, I'd rather fight you than tell my mom I didn't go to school and have to deal with my older brother or older sister. My older sister was tough too. So the thing was, if I got to fight him to get to school, then so be it. So then, to tell you the truth, after a couple of times of that, I started coming off the elevator and I wasn't asking any questions. I was throwing the first blows. Whoever it was, older, my age, it didn't matter. Who next? It got to the point to where they start telling me, man, you just go to school if it's that important to you. Let him pass.
Right.
Let him pass. So it was one of those things to where, to be honest, my dad was known for fighting. He was known for fighting. And like I said, naturally, I'm an introvert, man. In my day-to-day, I typically don't think about roughing anybody up, but I've never been one who would shy away from it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I got a 2-part question for you. This is on the because after you tell me that story, I know that record of 50-4 is probably more like 104. but I got a question for you. Did you fight Golden Glove? It's a 2-part question.
I did.
Okay.
I did.
So for the casual boxing fan, can you kind of break down the significance of the Golden Gloves and what that means? Because I hear, people thought us, he a Golden Glove champ or he fought former Golden Glove, but I don't think people really understand the significance of Golden Gloves or what it even represents.
Yeah, the Golden Glove is one of the biggest national tournaments. That's why you hear that name thrown around for centuries, and will continue to be thrown around. So the Golden Gloves breaks down as this: you have to qualify within your state. So it might be like a regional tournament that breaks down to the final tournament that leads to the national tournament. So what happens is there's each weight class in each state can send an individual for that weight class. So for instance, Nebraska, I was the Golden Glove champion that went for heavyweights. Okay. So then there was an individual that went at welterweight, and then there was an individual that went at lightweight. But if you hear someone say he was the Golden Glove or she was the Golden Glove champion of their state, that means they went on to the national tournament to represent their state. And then you're fighting against the individuals throughout the nation, all in your weight class. And typically it's in between a 3 to 5 day tournament to see who is the Golden Glove national champion.
Okay. So yeah, the national champion is the big dog.
That's the big dog.
That's the big dog.
That's the big dog.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Did you ever make it to the national level?
Yeah, I made it to the national level. I won Golden Glove 3 different times. So I've been 3 different times. I went to the finals twice, and I went to the semifinals once.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
That's where the majority of those losses come from in that national tournament.
Okay.
When it count. Yeah, I get it though.
Yeah.
Hey, you ain't losing to nobody who not, worthy of losing to. Yeah.
No, I lost to some guys that was well respected. One of my favorite fights still to this day, and it was a fight that I lost, was against a cat from Des Moines, Iowa, named Tristan James. They call him Tree. He was a left-handed kid, about 1.5 inches taller than me. He made me take boxing serious, because at first it was just the love of the sport that made me get out there. I got out there because I'm like, man, I can do this. I like it. And things were going sweet. And not that they were easy, but things were going the way that I wanted them to go. And then I ran into this cat, and he taught me a valuable lesson. You see it a lot of times. You say, oh man, you can play basketball, you can play football, you can't play boxing. He taught me that lesson. You know what I mean? And he a guy who cheers for me through social media to this day. To this day. He a guy who cheered for me still to this day. But he was the guy who made me realize, like, I could see it in his face. I saw the Southside of Chicago me in his face when I got in the ring with him. And I knew then, I said, oh yeah, you in for it. I knew it right away. Before a punch was even thrown, I could see in his face that he was that hungry. Like, man, this is what I have. And not to mention, at the time when I fought him, here I am, a general manager of a fitness facility, a career booming, just all these things are going extremely well. Not a care in the world, driving a 745 BMW. I'm lit.
Yeah.
But I looked in his eyes from across the ring, and I knew at that very moment, oh yeah, there it is. That's what you've been looking for. You've been looking for that war, and now here he is right across the ring from you. And it was perfect. It was everything I was looking for, except for that left hook, man. He landed a left hook on me, reminded me, like, yeah, this is for real.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Oh, you gonna hit? Oh, you hitting it?
Oh yeah. Oh, this ain't sparring no more, huh? Mm-hmm. This for real? Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, but he taught me a valuable lesson, man. But I will stand on this. Ain't nobody never knocked me down. Ain't nobody never knocked me out. He won on the cards, but it was a boxing lesson. It was definitely a lesson.
So let me piggyback on that when you talk about war. Now, are you the aggressor or are you going off the vibe of the other fighter? What's the strategy?
Yep. So I'm going to give it to you how you want it. I'm going to give it to you exactly how you want it. If you want me to give you a boxing lesson now at this point, I can. I can definitely break you down throughout rounds because I know I have the endurance, Burner. That's where I got them beat at. When nobody see Clyde, I'm doing the right thing. I'm eating the right things. Like you said, we cigar connoisseurs. I haven't had a cigar in over, almost 60 days since training started. And this was before official training camp started. I haven't had a drink of liquor in over 60 days. And we still 7 weeks out. I know what my body doing. I'm already on weight.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I can pull 5 pounds off and put 5 pounds back on of muscle. I'm doing these things intentionally. I'm eating the right things. I'm eating proper meals throughout the day. I'm hydrated. So I can take you deep if you want to.
So let me get this off. Sorry to cut you off because you always got the amateur or the person that look at something and think they can do it. So for those who think they can, let's give them a day in the life of what a professional boxer looks like from a regimen perspective.
Yep. So for me right now, that alarm going off at 4:30 a.m. Excuse me, go off at 4:30. I'm up. I have something light. Like I said, there's probably some overnight oats and a protein shake for me to start the day. At a minimum, I'm gonna kick the day off with a 5-mile run, and then I'll do a 30-minute core and back strengthening circuit, and then at noon, I'm gonna go in and do a full strength and conditioning circuit. I'm gonna go back to my desk job. Finish that out, but in between I'm having all the proper meals. I'm having the protein that I'm supposed to intake. I'm having the fats that I'm supposed to have. And then some days it calls, like today was an active recovery day. So today was a bunch of heating pads and stretching and then cold tub. So that's what today was. But before I end the day, even if I come back, I have lunch, I end my day, I'm at the gym by 5 p.m. ready for the execution side of it. Now, whatever the trainers have on the table for me. A lot of time there could be some more strengthening, there could be some more conditioning, but it's going to be definitely a bunch of punching. There's some sparring sessions that's taking place 2 to 3 times a week. They bringing in different sparring partners, different looks, So, and that's at a minimum 5 days a week.
Wow.
I'm living in that lifestyle 5 days a week. I got a chef on hand, which is my wife. She makes sure everything's everything for me. One of my trainers, what he does for a living is design, whether it's weight loss or weight gain programs for individuals. He do it for a living. So then he designed my program as well, all the way down to the macro level of what I'm supposed to be having. You know what I mean? Shout out my dog Big E. He keeps the strength and conditioning regimens up to par for sure. So that's part of it. There's no shortcuts to what I'm trying to get to, basically.
Yeah. So I got a question as far as you actually fighting in the ring and your I'm going back to the family life again. Do your kids look up? Do they want to? Is this something that you think you see in them that they might want to pursue a career in boxing or some other form of athletics?
Yeah. So my little boy, he's just naturally athletic, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been in this household. We preach more. Hey, listen. What if you cured cancer? What if you was the person who cured cancer? We got enough people who can put the ball in the basket. You got enough people who run around punching each other. What if you was the person who cured cancer? But naturally, like you said, because they see it, they're going to gravitate towards it. It's in their DNA. So he's at the gym for, at least 4 days a week with me already. So, he's been exposed to it. He's been exposed to basketball. Like I said, mom's a basketball coach. Now, my little girl, even though she's only 1, that's the one who naturally I see the aggression in, like her dad. Like it's just naturally there already. These random growls come out when things don't go her way, and I say, "Yeah, it's in you." So yeah. So then my little boy, he think it's super cool that dad has a fight coming up. So the fights prior to this one, he was able to watch the national tournament on live stream during the pandemic because they wasn't allowing outside fans in. So here at home, they streamed in my fights, and he's been wanting to see it in person. So him being in the gym every now and then, I wouldn't even know that he's watching, and it'll be round 10 of mitts and footwork and head movement. And at that point, I'm getting kind of tired, and I'll just randomly hear him say, "You can do it, Dad." That alone kicks it up to where 10 more rounds feel like light work now.
Yeah, I can see that. It's funny though what you said about your daughter though, and that aggression, because I see it in my little girl too from time to time. I don't know why they come out so early in the daughters, man. They come out super early.
See, I wanted a little daughter for that same reason. Then I just let her be bad. I ain't got to say nothing.
The one in my house definitely does what she wants to.
So you mentioned your upcoming fight. So this is going to be one of your big nationally televised fight, probably one of your first, correct?
This is definitely going to be a fight where they're going to have a streaming service attached to it. Yeah, man, it's a coming out party as far as my pro debut. And part of it there was opportunities to have this fight already, not this particular bout, but to have a fight. But it would have been away from Lincoln. So now I got the opportunity to have it right here in Lincoln. I'll be the main event coming out on the pro debut, and the venue's selling out. In large part to catch like Burner, people who witnessed the journey from the beginning and don't mind supporting other individuals throughout their endeavors.
Right.
So, he was one of those first guys, man, within the first couple of hours of the tickets being available on the phone already. How, when, where, loop me in. So the venue's at the point down to where it's almost at capacity. And there's been situations and conversations saying, "Oh man, this is pro debut. Can he carry a card? Can he sell out a venue?" No, it isn't a massive venue, but yes, he can carry a card and he can sell that bad boy out. And then on top of it, I'm gonna put on a show.
Absolutely. We in the building, and for the record, the official announcement coming from Unlabeled is Clyde Johnson of Lincoln, Nebraska versus Gabriel Rodriguez of El Paso, Texas. Right?
Yeah.
Saturday, May 25th. Make sure you're in the building. It's at the complex, 1555 Yolanda Avenue, Lincoln, Nebraska.
Absolutely.
Listen.
Absolutely.
Come out. I mean, see this show he gonna put on. So what can we expect, right? Tell me how this gonna go. You coming out the gate, or you just gonna give us all rounds, straight punishment, knockout? How you feeling?
No, yeah. Part of it is it's a pro-am, so there's gonna be some amateurs that open up the show, and it's 2 amateurs that I want to make sure I mention. One of them, his name's Beltran, a young man from Cameroon. He's a dog at 175. He a knockout artist. You would think he had sledgehammers inside of his gloves. There's another young man named Ibrahim that'll fight out of our stable as well, and he's a real crafty young man. And as for me, man, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come out burn out. I have seen some film on him, and in that first round, I'm gonna give him I'll come out. I'll establish this jab, and then I'll give him the opportunity to respond. And this is where he has to be very careful. Because once he responds and I download, now I'm going to give you exactly what you're looking for. If that means I have to box this young man on my toes and I float around the ring and I'm just simply stinging him until I get ready to take him out with something big, or if he shows me that he isn't really ready to be in there with me, I might just walk him down and get him out of there. I'm going to give him a chance to set the tone, though. I'm going to come out, establish a jab, and then wait for him to respond. Because he has to. He has to. It's just part of being in there. It takes bravery to get in there. Not just anybody can climb in there. It's lonely. It's lonely. Yeah. You know, in other sports, there's teammates, the point guard, the center, the shooting guard. Oh, the strong safety, you know what I mean? The DB, the quarterback. You can blame, nah, it get lonely. It get real lonely real quick. And if you're not mentally prepared for it and looking for that feeling, in which I am, I'm looking for that vacancy of now it's just me and you. Now it's just me and you. Everything else is out the window. What are you going to do after I do this? Because I know what I'm going to do regardless of what you do. So when he opened up that door and showed me what he made of, then I'll give it to him how he wanted. Yep.
We looking forward to it, man. We excited. Like I said, we in the building. We repping.
Yeah.
So we celebrating. Obviously, we gonna manifest it now. We celebrating that night. But I want to ask you, what's next for Clyde after this? We full throttle with it. I know you're professional on one side. What we doing?
Yep. So May 25th we'll have that fight, and then there's a vacation already scheduled for my family. I'm taking my family out of the country for the first time. The kids. It'll be the first time the kids go out of the country. So we'll make that happen. But we right back in the ring either September or October at the latest.
Wow.
We're going to stay active. We're going to bring it right back to Lincoln. We're going to stay active. And we're going to keep it that way at a minimum of 3 fights a year. There's some goals in place. There's some milestones we want to hit. There's a bigger picture to all of it as well. In order for it to get to where I personally want it to be, we have to stay active. And we planned on doing so. Planned on each time stepping up the venue, stepping up, the competition as well, and continuing to sharpen the tools to where the big fish are gonna have to take notice at some point.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about the big fish next, because being a boxer from Nebraska and Lincoln, in particular, Omaha is right up the road. Have you caught the attention of Terrence Crawford at all?
And those guys have been extremely hospitable throughout my boxing career. There's been multiple times where they have had an open door policy, man. That's a great camp up there, great trainer, of course, the world's greatest fighter is right up there. And I have nothing but good things to say about their camp and the performances that Bud puts on. Like I said, they very hospitable, very down to earth. And at any time you can go in there, get some work, because they got plenty of it. They got applications all over the place. They give you that work. I'm talking about from all weight classes. They'll give you that work. Female, male, how you want it, they'll give it to you. But yeah, we definitely, and I'm hoping, to be honest, man, one of the things is, it would be an honor to one of these fights to be on the undercard of Bud's.
Yeah.
That'll be real sweet. He brings something back to the city, to the state. It'll most likely to be in Omaha, or he brings something to a bigger venue to where he might sell out the Memorial Stadium where they play college football here, and And if that's the case, I'd love to be on the undercard.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna manifest that now. So
Absolutely.
yeah, we're gonna manifest that now. Yeah. But I'm a fan. But go ahead, Bernie.
Nah, I just was gonna say, man, thank you for coming and showing us some love. We trying to reciprocate it with the platform, but we cheering for you. Anything we can do to help you, as you know, we will. But again, May 25th, fight night is going down. We in the building.
Oh yeah, man.
And after the fight, we would love to have you back.
No, definitely.
And we can talk about this domination and then what's next at that point once you have some time to really see what's on the table. So
no, yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, I take the time to I have some sponsors in place, man. I'm thankful to my sponsors because without their support, we can't provide certain certain opportunities for sparring partners to come in, for fight gear for trainers and stuff. So the sponsors, man, that I have, they know who they are, and if anybody's interested in who my sponsors are, you can go to my Facebook page and check my last post. They're listed. They're the best in the business at what they do. These are the high-end professionals at what they do, and like I said, I'm thankful to them.
Also, real quick, obviously you're going to be tagged in what we're doing, but let people know how to get a hold of you directly.
Yeah, on Instagram, you can find me at Clyde G's, man. First name, and then G's is just GZ. Inside on that is, man, that's who I am, Godzilla. That's what they call me when I played basketball, because when I came to the basket, everybody went. If you ever seen the movie Godzilla, when he showed up, come running through the city, how everybody scattered.
Yeah.
And on my way to the basket, that's what the defenders did. They scattered. When I'm pumping this jab, getting ready to throw this right, they scatter. There's some arrogance in this sports also.
Yeah.
Talk.
Yeah, and part of it, man, the hashtag is FTS. Because when I do flip the script or flip the switch, all that, don't worry about my faith. Don't worry about my family. Don't worry about the humble me. I've officially flipped the switch, and it's go time, man. So that's when we step in the ring, and it's up from there. But you can find me on Instagram at Clyde, capital G, capital Z, man. I appreciate it.
Man, we appreciate you. And on that note, man, listeners, it's been another episode of Unlabeled Sports. We really hope that y'all enjoying what we bring into the table. And Bernie, you got anything else to add, my brother?
Man, we'll be back. Again, Clyde, thank you, brother. We're going to catch you ringside. And all the listeners and the viewers, like and subscribe. Much love. Shout out Corn Coast. And also shout out University of Strictly Business Group.
Yes, sir. All right. And on that note, we'll see y'all next week with another episode of Unlabeled Sports. I almost said Unlabeled Podcast. Look at me. I'm crossing pies. But it is what it is, man. It's the second episode. So Unlabeled Sports. It's still a working title. We're going to have to come up with something a little bit more clever, a little bit more sticky. So, hey, man, we appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all later. Peace.
That's good, bro.